Hey guys, John here. In this video, we're going to be installing AFE's Momentum GT intakes into my 2023 Toyota Tundra. A little bit different of an environment to install this into the truck because we're actually in Texas. We did a road trip from Florida to my wife's parents' farm here in Texas, and I wanted to see how the throttle response was and also the MPGs on the way out here with the stock system. And then we're going to install the Momentum GTs for our return trip back. Yes, it'll be a little bit skewed, right? But we'll see the better throttle response if there's any, and also improved miles per gallon on our return trip to see if these things actually do anything or if it's just sound and placebo. So just like the Tacoma intake stuff, guys, when we did it, everything was packaged really nicely in just one single box, pretty much a small box for 2 intakes too. But we have the pre-oiled filters right here. Everything says inspected on it, which I do really like. It's just not parts that are thrown into a box. We have our hose clamps and everything. And then our simple instructions with everything laid out on how to take your original intake out of the truck and also put this new one in. So let's go ahead and get it installed. So we're gonna start over here on the passenger side, guys. We're gonna unclip the map sensor, also unclip the harness right here, and then the hose clamp back here too. We're gonna loosen that up. That way we are able to get this intake tube off. All right, so with our hose clamp off, we're able to pull that intake tube off, and then with our lid too, able to pull that off. You can take your filter out if you want, and then we'll take the intake box out. So now with the top of the intake off, all we do to pull this one out of this Tundra is just yank up on it because there's just little rubber grommets right here that hold it into place. So you can see where those rubber grommets go. We got 1, 2, and 3. They just kind of go into place to hold the intake box in. So next step, take these 3 OEM grommets from the original intake box and put them over to the AFE Momentum ones. And this is what it should look like with those grommets in place. So they're pretty easy to poke out of that one. And then I just twisted them on and pushed them through on this one. So we're gonna flip it over now, where we're gonna wipe this down with an alcoholic pad to make sure that it's all nice and clean to put our foam insert on top of. So in this bag right here, AFE provides both the alcoholic pad and also our foam insert that we're gonna put on with nice 3M adhesive too. All right, with our pad in place, we're gonna go ahead and take our intake and we're gonna set it on into the truck with this pad that we just put onto it, going into the little hole right there of the fender well. Then we'll line up these 3 rubber grommets and place them onto those 3 pegs that are still in the truck that I showed you guys in the previous step. So next we're gonna take our pre-oil filter. You can see kind of these lines right here. Those are what is gonna latch it into place. And we'll just go ahead and put this into the intake box. And then after it's in place, just go ahead and loosely put the hose clamp back on. Next, we're gonna take the AFE power coupling. We're gonna go ahead and put this onto the turbo inlet right here. So take 2 hose clamps with it, put one on the back end for when you put it on here, just leave them kind of loose. And then this other side here will attach to a tube with the MAF sensor on it when we put that on in a second. Next step, we're gonna take our MAF sensor off our stock intake tube, transfer it over to the AFE intake tube, and then we'll secure it down with these T20 Torx screws. So with the passenger side done, we're gonna go ahead and pull the service window little plastic off. This is nice because you can see if your intake is getting dirty. And then I'm also gonna put on the optional plug right here. So you are able to take in extra air if you want with this system, but the caveat to that is this is open in your engine bay, and I'm gonna be doing a road trip home, so I don't want this to suck in any hot air because it is like 95 degrees outside. So we're gonna plug this up, reducing our power, right, by a little bit because it's not sucking in extra air, but also technically increasing it because it's not gonna be sucking in hot air and it's only gonna be sucking in cold air from the fender well. So after the passenger side is completely done, the nice thing is you just repeat the same exact steps over here on the driver's side. All right, and driver's side is done. So honestly, recorded on that side, this side, probably under 10 minutes. The only issue I had is the horn right here. It's very close when you're trying to finagle the intake box onto the 3 posts that are stock with the Tundra. So I just got myself a chair, leaned over my truck a little bit, and I set this front left one first and maneuvered the box in. It did press a little bit against the horn right here, but then I was able to push the box into place. Got the MAF sensors on, got all the hose clamps tightened up. We're gonna go ahead, turn it on, make sure there's no check engine lights, and then take it for a drive. All right guys, so we're in the truck, 40 miles an hour. Here's a little pull. So you can kind of hear it when you kick it down with the turbo spooling. That was to 50, we're back to 45. Put it down again. So not like crazy airbox loud to where I have in the Tacoma with the AFE, and I like it in the Tacoma, how you can hear that kind of growl. So this we don't hear a growl, unfortunately, but the turbo noise is definitely there. And a green light, let people get ahead of us just so you can hear. So under light throttle, nothing really, but give it a little more pedal. And then you can hear some good blow off too. Tundra's lifted now. That is a video coming in the future. But to answer the question that I opened up with at the beginning, right? We were doing a road trip from Texas back here to Florida. How would the throttle response be? And also, would we get better miles per gallon? Well, in the update video of how the overall road trip was, 1,800 miles with the truck, I didn't actually get better miles per gallon coming back home, although it was the exact same per the computer coming back home. So doing the 900 miles return trip back home, I got about the same MPGs, but we did have a lot more idle time at a couple drive-thrus, at Buc-ee's and stuff too. So the truck idled a little bit more, and I was going a little bit faster. I did enjoy hearing the turbo noises, so I would give it a little bit more pedal. So I guess if I was to drive the exact same route and the exact same driving characteristics, the truck probably would get better miles per gallon. Here is what AFE says the added increased airflow, horsepower, and torque is of this system. And having now this system in the truck for a couple weeks until this point with me making this video right now, I can tell that I like it more in the truck than how the truck was stock. And the increased throttle response is definitely there. And with the improved airflow too, I feel like just the truck ran better and it ran healthier. It wasn't micro shifting as much as it does. Like, you can barely feel it in this truck, but I feel like the truck was just getting more air and like a little bit more power to not need to really do any of those things. Now, it may be placebo, but again, we're not getting increased crazy engine noise, just really the turbo noise. So it's not really placebo because I kind of like physically felt it. Now, more horsepower and more torque though will be coming in the future with this product right here, also by AFE. So they sent out the Scorcher power module, and I wanted to wait until I put the 37s on the truck until we put this on. I kind of wish I did it stock, but with these bigger tires, this engine is honestly still unfazed. But I want to install this. Check out the numbers on AFE's site for this. Crazy amount more horsepower, crazy amount more of torque too. So guys, I recommend these. I know there's other companies out there too now that are doing stuff, but me personally, for cold air intakes, I know that the stock truck comes with a cold air intake because it's pulling cold air in here from the fender well, but I would never personally go with an open box system. I did take these plugs out too for a couple days just to see if there was gonna be more intake noise. There's a little bit more turbo whistle with these plugs out, but it was just too hot here in Florida, and I honestly did feel a little bit decrease of power from these boxes with these plugs out when it was really hot out. I can make some update videos in the future if you guys want to hear more videos with more turbo noise, but that is really what we're getting out of this system. And also, legitimately too, I feel like we are getting a better throttle response, and also I can mentally weirdly feel more airflow being into the truck, especially because it's a force induction motor versus an NA motor. But yeah, I like it. It makes cool noises and it works. So guys, I will catch you all in the next one. All right, see you later.